What's going on, guys? Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com. And in this video today, I want to explain the relationship between alcohol and fat loss and go over what the potential problem with drinking is and what it isn't when it comes to leaning down, because there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding on this topic. Before I jump into it, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button below to stay in the loop on all of my future content. And click the little bell symbol as well, and that way you'll be notified whenever a new video is available so that you don't miss out on anything. So what the problem isn't when it comes to alcohol and fat loss is the alcohol itself, meaning there's nothing inherently fattening about alcohol, and it is possible to consume some alcohol as part of your diet and still lose fat consistently, just as much fat as you would otherwise, as long as you exercise some reasonable moderation and you track the calories. Just like there's nothing inherently fattening about eating a slice of pizza or having a couple cookies, how alcohol actually affects your results all depends on how it fits into the overall picture as a whole. In order to lose fat, you need to maintain a calorie deficit. Alcohol contains calories, and if you track those calories as part of your diet, just like if you track the calories from a piece of pizza or a cookie, you can still maintain a net deficit, get in all of your other macro and micronutrient needs, and you can still lose fat while having a few drinks here and there. So as long as you don't go overboard, meaning you're having no more than the equivalent of about 1 to 2 drinks per day for a male, about half that amount for a female, or you're going out and having a higher number of drinks but doing it less frequently. So like having a night out with your buddies and drinking a bit more heavily, but just doing it every now and then. Alcohol itself is not going to be a problem from a pure fat burning or muscle building perspective. There's a lot of myths on this floating around, but no, it won't suppress testosterone to any serious degree unless you consume a huge amount. And even then the effect is temporary. It won't reduce protein synthesis to any serious degree, and it won't affect recovery either unless you're doing very high volume training or endurance training. And again, you'd have to be drinking a fairly heavy amount for that to be a problem. And I did a detailed video on this last year that I'll link below, and I'll also link some studies below on this as well. So alcohol itself, tracked and in moderation, is not going to significantly negatively impact fat loss. However, where drinking can become a real problem and where it can legitimately throw your fat loss program and your physique off course is from the behavioral changes that it can produce, which then carry over to your program as a whole. Meaning, maybe you go out drinking and you do take the calories into account and it all fits into your intake for the day, no problem there, but what do you end up eating at the end of the night, for example? Are you really going home and eating a chicken breast with sweet potato, or are you sitting at McDonald's at 3 a.m. eating a 20-piece chicken McNugget meal with 5 sweet and sour sauces and a large fries? Big difference there. You're probably also not going to get the best sleep in the world. Maybe you have a bit of a hangover. So how does that affect your motivation the next day? Are you going to say, okay, that was a fun night, time to get back on track, let's get back into the gym, get back on track with my diet? Or are you going to say, screw it, I already messed up last night, so I'm just going to relax on the couch and watch Netflix and order some pizza? And if that happens, how is that going to affect your training? Are you now going to feel discouraged and skip a workout or skip a cardio session? Is your diet going to get even worse? And if those things happen, how does it affect you moving forward? When friends ask you to go out drinking again the next weekend, are you going to say, no, I drank last week, I'm going to take it easy and stay in? Or are you going to give in and go ahead and repeat that same process again? Little fluctuations in calorie intake or a missed workout here and there are not going to be a big deal. But if it's happening too frequently, it obviously will add up. And since fat loss primarily comes down to overall net energy balance, burning more calories than you consume in the overall picture, enough little spikes in calorie intake and enough missed workouts, and your deficit can end up being significantly cut down or erased altogether, or you could even end up in a surplus and start gaining fat. So that, as I see it, is the real potential problem with alcohol and fat loss, or even alcohol and muscle growth. In a vacuum, with all the variables controlled, moderate alcohol consumption is not going to be an issue. But for certain people, it's the spillover effect. That's what you really have to worry about. There's no question that drinking lowers your willpower and makes things harder to resist. And if you're somebody who struggles with willpower in the first place, when it comes to food, then that could be a legitimate issue for you. Just like how some people can eat one donut and enjoy it and move on without a problem, For other people, it can be a trigger food where one donut leads to 2 donuts, which leads to 5, and so on. You know, a donut is not inherently fattening in and of itself. It's the quantity of donuts and how those donuts end up affecting the overall picture. So if you're serious about leaning down and achieving a great physique, you have to know yourself, okay? Everybody's different, and you have to be honest with yourself and say, you know, can I go out and drink socially and have maybe 3 or 4 drinks, take the calories into account, and then call it a night and carry on as usual? Or does 3 or 4 drinks usually spiral out of control for me? Or, yeah, I want to go out one night, have more of like a party night, drink a larger amount. Can I have that one big night and just let loose and have my calories temporarily spike up a little bit and then get right back on track? Or is that big night likely going to affect me negatively moving forward? Am I going to be tired and eat more the next day or in the next several days? Am I going to skip workouts, lose motivation, etc.? If you know that you can drink in moderation without any issue, then you're probably fine and you can strike a good, healthy balance for yourself there. Or if you have maybe more of an addictive personality or you struggle with willpower, especially when it comes to food, maybe you decide that abstaining altogether, at least for the time being, while you focus on your fitness program is the better choice. Or maybe you do have a drink or 2 here and there, but only in certain settings, meaning that you avoid those typical party scenarios where people are drinking more heavily, and you just stick to more casual settings like a restaurant or a small gathering or something like that. Now, what are some things you can do to minimize alcohol's spillover effects? I'll give you a few tips here before closing the video out. Number 1, if you're drinking more heavily, then don't do it the night before a workout, since you'll have a higher chance of skipping. And if you do train, then your performance likely won't be as good. That'll give you a day to recover, or maybe 2 days to recover, and to get your motivation back and to hit the gym when you're feeling fresh again. Or at the very least, try to schedule your easiest workout on that day rather than the more challenging ones. Secondly, save up some calories during the day for later on in the night. You probably don't want to be drinking on a completely empty stomach, but at least earlier on in the day, you can eat a little bit lighter, because that'll create a bit of a calorie buffer so that if you do have a higher calorie meal later on, the effect won't be as significant overall. Third, have a set limit in mind for how many drinks you're going to have that night before you start drinking. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to stick to it, obviously, but it's something that I personally find really helpful, because I'll end up spacing my drinks out a bit further rather than just getting caught up in it and letting things get a bit out of control. Fourth, one tip you can try is to have a pre-prepared meal ready for you at home for later on. So if you know that there's a meal ready for you when you get back and all you have to do is just pop it in the microwave, that'll lessen the chance that you will end up binging on fast food or some other really high calorie takeout food at the end of the night. And fifth is to rehydrate. Most people don't need to be told this, but alcohol is very dehydrating, and replenishing those fluids after you drink will go a long way in minimizing any potential hangover, which will also minimize the chances that you'll fall off track with your nutrition and your training. The better you feel after a night of drinking, the better off you're going to be in terms of your fitness program and vice versa. And if besides drinking water, there are other things that personally help in terms of reducing your hangover, have the discipline to do those things before going to bed. So, bottom line here, guys, alcohol itself is not a problem when consumed in moderation. It doesn't ruin fat loss in and of itself. You can drink socially in moderation and still lose fat and achieve a great physique. But what can ruin fat loss is how the alcohol affects the overall picture. So know yourself, know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and structure your training and diet and your potential alcohol consumption based around that if you truly want to succeed at this and get into the shape you're after. So I hope this was helpful for you. Feel free to share the video if it was. You can hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe as well. If you want to check out my complete step-by-step body transformation blueprint system that shows you how to maximize your muscle building and fat burning results, including easy to follow workouts, meal plans, supplement guides, and one-on-one coaching, then you can click the little icon here, or you can visit btblueprint.com. The link for that is in the description box. The official website is over at seannell.com, and make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well if you aren't already. The links for that are also in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.